Between the Pages is made possible by Words and Pictures, located at 2610 Center Street Northeast in Calgary. For all your comic book, anime, toys, and more, stop by Words and Pictures. You'll be glad you did. This episode of Between the Pages is brought to you by Red Skull Comics offers the best selection of comics and trade paperbacks in Calgary, with a great selection of manga, games, magic cards, toys, statues, and a whole lot more. Want to be sure your collection is up to date? Then ask the friendly staff about their file services. Need more room for that growing collection? Then ask Red Skull about selling your back issue titles. 18 years and still going strong, Red Skull is the best little comic shop in Western Canada. Visit Red Skull Comics today at 720A Edmonton Trail Northeast in Calgary. Then find them on the web at www.redskull.com and like them on Facebook. Alchemy Apparel.
All right, so we are back with another fine show. It's Saturday afternoon. We've had difficulties like freaking crazy. And, yeah, it's Saturday, and I am Richard Cleveland. There's no lower third today. We've had some technical difficulties. All of our lower thirds just at the last minute kind of went out the window, and I didn't feel like fixing it. So I am your host, Richard Cleveland. As always, I am here with you Saturdays at noon Mountain Standard Time, 2 p.m. Eastern Time, 11 in Vancouver time, BC time, yeah. What is that, Pacific or Atlantic? Pacific time. There we go. And as always, with me is my inimitable co-host, and I got nothing bad to say about you this week, man. Mr. Jason Bishop.
Oh, thanks, man. I'm thinking the Skrulls walked off with our lower thirds or something like that.
It must be.
Yeah.
Must be.
But that's okay. We can run without it. You guys know who we are. You've been watching all 18 episodes thus far, right?
Yeah, we hope so.
If not, go back and watch them in our archives.
That's right.
Yeah.
Watch them in archives.
So, yeah, this was a big San Diego week this week.
It sure the hell was. But before we get to San Diego, we've got a little bit of news to talk about in terms of what happened over the weekend. As we all know, Batman The Dark Knight Rises opened on midnight Thursday
with a really good, spectacular numbers.
Right.
But not
it was kind of overshadowed by an incident in Colorado. And I just want to reach out to any of our fans that are in Colorado that watch our show and, send our condolences. And there's actually a gal who was recently in another shooting in Toronto.
That was there
and was shot and killed.
Yeah,
yes.
Which is tragic.
Very tragic.
Was a reviewer.
Right.
And I'm like, I don't know what's going on in the movies down there, but maybe they should be patting people down.
Well, it's a tragedy, and it's a senseless tragedy.
It is. It's absolutely tragic. And you know what? I feel bad for all the people that just wanted to see a movie.
That's right.
And then there's poor Chris Nolan, who's got to field things that, it's not like he had any involvement with them, but, he had the Heath Ledger's passing, haunting the last movie, and,
right.
And then there were the death threats before this movie even opened about the negative reviews.
Right.
On Rotten Tomatoes, and then it's like, oh my god, no wonder he wants to be done with Batman.
Yeah, I don't blame him.
No, but horrible tragedy. It's absolutely senseless. I was just shocked when I went to work on Friday because I hadn't seen any papers yet, and people were asking me questions about it. I'm like, I didn't even know about it.
I was feeling the same way. My wife sent me an email first thing in the morning, and she said, read the paper. Go online and read the paper. And I get all my news, through our local paper on my iPad. And, of course, I read this, and I watched the videos, and I thought, here's something that one individual, crazy as he might have been, I don't know if he had a history of mental problems, but apparently he was a graduate, like a university graduate.
Yeah, he was like a med student
or engineer or something like that. And, who knows? If you love a character so much that you can't stand to see another movie without him, that's sad. That really is sad in our society. And I think it's going to throw a negative light, I know, on this Batman franchise. Franchise is not going out with the bang. It's going to be marred by this tragedy, and that's unfortunate.
And there was a trailer Warner wound up pulling too, just before the movie. I can't remember. I think it might be Argo, but I could be wrong. There was like a gangster movie kind of trailer,
right?
And it literally has guys guns a-blazing through the movie screen, walking through the movie screen, and I'm like, well, yeah, I could see why you would want to pull that after something like this.
Well, the other thing too that I thought was quite strange is that NBC, ABC, and another affiliate in the U.S. have pulled all of the commercials for Batman: The Dark Knight Rises. They've pulled the commercials. There's no more television commercials running. I think that was more in memoriam for the tragedy. Why is that not? There we go. Jeez, fingers aren't working today either. And I do want to send out our condolences, not only from us individually, but also from Naked Ape Productions and Between the Pages to the families and people that were affected by this tragedy. That being said, let's move on to more positive news. Let's have a look at what's happening in the world of San Diego Comic-Con, because that's what we're talking about today is San Diego Comic-Con. We're kind of wrapping things up.
That's right.
Neither of us were fortunate enough to be able to go this week or last week, which sucks, because I know that I'd love to go, but I know I'd go crazy with all the people there, because you know me. I hate crowds. I absolutely hate crowds.
Yeah, but you know what? We would have got a lot of interviews and stuff, and this is actually a good time to make a plug for the donate button. If you want to see us at some of these shows, help us out, help us get there. We don't make anything off this show, so every little bit helps. We have a donate button on the website, so you can just click that and donate what you can, or click on one of the Google ads. That helps us out.
That definitely helps us out. So let's first talk about the new Image books from Fraction, Casey, and a few others. Now Matt Fraction's making an unannounced appearance on a panel and teaming with Howard
Chaykin.
Chaykin,
yeah.
On Satellite Sam. What do you know about this?
I don't actually know much about Satellite Sam. I saw the posting. Really, it's Howard Chaykin. I love pretty much everything he does. He's also got Black Kiss returning from Image.
Wow.
Which boy, if anybody remembers, was a controversial book back in the day, and this is a sequel to Black Kiss coming. Satellite Sam I don't know too much about, but it's interesting. Not so much I want to talk about the comics so much, but these Marvel exclusive creators crossing over.
Yeah, that's
obviously these
weird.
Exclusives are ending, and they're looking to try some new stories elsewhere. And I'm all for that. Actually, I think that's cool. Satellite Sam could be an interesting book. But yeah, I mean, there's Derek Robertson's book is coming up.
Yeah,
and Fraction's wife Kelly Sue DeConnick is going to be over there with another book as well.
Yeah, she's teaming up with Emma Rios, isn't she?
Yeah. Actually, the Derek Robinson book's called Oliver, which I thought was a really neat idea.
Okay.
And this is the guy who did Boys, but it's kind of this alternative take on Dickens fiction.
Okay.
So it's kind of set in this Dickens world. So I'm expecting Scrooge to be running around doing crazy stuff, and I don't know. I mean, it should be this really neat kind of Victorian story.
What about Scrooge with an Uzi?
Scrooge with an Uzi. That could be strange.
Tiny Tim with a bazooka.
Now, did you see the...
God bless everyone. Here, eat this, mofo.
Did you see the poster that Image had? There's another book coming from Joe Casey, simply titled Sex.
No, the poster that's out says buy sex.
Yeah.
Buy sex.
Image Comics wants you to buy sex.
Well... Sex has been a running theme in comics for the last 15 years.
Yeah, enough said about that one. I'm not sure that was the one they wanted to bank on as far as their advertising goes, but whatever.
But Joe Casey's put out some good stuff in the past,
boy,
and I mean
yeah,
he's got quite the following. So
yeah, so I don't think you'll have any problem with that one. Nowhere Men from Image co-founder Will Prestaccio,
yes,
is also going to be part of that publishing line, and Jay Fairbear. I want to say Fairbear is also got another book coming out called Point of Impact.
Yes.
And Joe Harris has got a book called Pacific. So, I mean, a lot of big announcements, and that's on top of the ones we kind of know are coming. I know there's a Grant Morrison book coming.
Right. That was kind of teased before
Yeah.
San Diego, though.
Yeah, that was teased before. I was actually surprised they didn't make a formal announcement of it, but I'm guessing it's not quite ready yet.
Right.
But maybe this is just like Grant Morrison keeps talking about the books he's doing. Like we've known about Multiversity for 3-4 years now, and it still isn't on schedule. So
this is very, very true.
You know, don't look for that Image Grant Morrison book anytime soon.
No,
maybe sooner than you think. Who knows?
I'm hoping we can run this. I doubt it, but let me just quickly see here. Thump, 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 thump.
That was one of the ones that got lost, wasn't it?
Yeah.
In the crash.
Yeah. So
That's too bad.
let's just talk about it then.
Okay.
We'll insert it in post.
So I'm assuming you're talking about the Deadpool game trailer.
I am. If you haven't seen this game trailer, I just type in Deadpool game trailer into your search engine and go check it out because this thing rocks.
You know, I had to admit, I mean, it was a cool looking game. I didn't like his voice though. You know, it was too Duke Nukem for me.
Well, he's kind of a Duke Nukem-esque kind of character, really, when you think about it.
You know, voice-wise, you know, I don't know. I keep hearing like Ryan Reynolds in my head or something.
Well, I don't know if he had that low, I'm gonna kick your ass kind of thing.
Oh, not quite as low, but it was a lot deeper than I would have liked.
But he had that comedy element to him. I mean, I like,
and they have his internal monologue running in the trailer.
Yeah, with an English guy.
Well, he's got more than one voice in his head.
Oh yeah, he had the really high pitched sort of whiny guys. Boobs, boobs, boobs.
Yeah. And then the more classy one.
But if you're a fan of video games and you're a fan of Deadpool, and I would certainly check this out. Looks like it's going to be an action-packed game. If you haven't seen the trailer, go check it out. It's does it have a street date yet?
I don't know about the street date, but honestly, it probably won't be ready till next year. Probably late next year. I mean, there's still some ones that are worked on that were hoping for this year and have been pushed back. So probably next year, but really cool announcement for San Diego. They also ran trailers for Avengers Battle for Earth.
Did you see that trailer?
I watched the trailer, yes.
What a wicked trailer. The ending just totally messed me up.
You know, I didn't really get a sense of the game so much, but I mean, it was a neat looking trailer.
Well,
I had no real sense of the gameplay out of that trailer.
I got
more like a teaser.
I got to tell you, well, yeah, it was a teaser cutscene, but when Cap turns around at the end of the trailer and he's a Skrull, I just
that was cool.
I kind of thought, yeah.
And we'll run these for you in the YouTube posting later on.
Yeah.
Our technical difficulties screwed up our feeds that we had queued up today. There's one more video game, a combat game for DC called Injustice.
Yes, I saw that.
And it's essentially a Mortal Kombat style fighter.
Well, it's made by the same guys who make Mortal Kombat, I believe.
Yeah, I do believe so. And Warner owns that studio now,
right?
Cool looking game. Looks like most of the character designs are pulled from the New 52, but not all of them. I think they're just picking and choosing the ones they like the most. Because if you saw the Flash, he looked like the New 52 Flash, same as Cyborg, but Superman looked a little more classic. So I think they're just kind of picking and choosing them.
I think they did what they did with Mortal Kombat versus DCU, is they really kind of punched up the costumes enough to make it look like this was, armored kind of plating. And I don't understand why the Flash would have armor plating, to be perfectly honest with you.
Thank you, Jim Lee, with your pointless designs. I mean, I love your artwork, dude, but you can't design characters to save your life. Sorry.
Another big announcement coming out of San Diego was Ross and Wade's Legendary status.
Well, actually, Alex Ross is doing some covers for the Tower Chronicles.
Right.
And boy, Legendary had all the big announcements, I got to tell you. Yeah, they got a lot of exciting stuff coming up. They've got Mark Waid doing a book for them. And Tower Chronicles has actually already been solicited for September.
Right.
And this is a project from Matt Wagner and Simon Beasley.
Right.
And so we're going to have some really nice covers going on those books for sure. Legendary, if you guys don't know, is a studio that put out Batman Dark Rises.
Yeah, they've done a lot of movies.
So this is a movie studio getting into comics, and they're not just wanting to do like IPs or things that they want to do original content in their books, not adaptions of their films or something. I mean, maybe they'll eye some of this stuff as films, but they want to make good comics. And this is I'm trying to remember the name of the guy who's running the company. Shrek, Bob Shrek, I think. He used to be over at Dark Horse, and then he was at DC for a while, and he's the guy responsible for bringing Mike Mignola and Frank Miller over to Dark Horse, and he has this way of getting big talent to work for him. And as Legendary's no stopping him over there either.
No.
He's got Michael Straczynski's doing a book called The Majestic Files for them.
Right.
That was announced at San Diego. Just trying to look through my notes here
now,
again.
Here's a question I have for you. With all the announcements that have been made through San Diego, and we know that San Diego tends to blow smoke from time to time.
Yes.
How much
Still
smoke
for Marvel Man.
out of all the announcements that were made in terms of comics and movies, how much of that do you believe is not going to see the light of day for 2 to 3 years?
Hard to say. Like, I think some of the stuff from Legendary is going to be OGNs, so despite announcements, I think they're going to take a little while.
Mm-hmm.
I know Shane Davis is doing a project for them, and who's formerly from the Earth 1 Superman OGNs for DC.
Okay.
And, those take a while.
Sure.
Granted, he's gotten 2 years, two books out in the span that it took to get the first Batman Earth 1 out. So if we, probably not till next year for the Shane Davis book.
Okay.
Granted that they've been working on these for a while. Legendary's had their imprint out for a while, and all they've released is Holy Terror from Frank Miller thus far. So
Gotcha.
I'm thinking they've been probably working on these for a while. We might not see another one until Tower Chronicles finishes, which will be close to the end of the year. So I'm thinking first quarter for next year.
Okay.
For some of this stuff, for at least from Legendary. Marvel and DC were very careful not to really announce anything too far down the line. Marvel mainly fleshed out Marvel Now announcements.
Okay.
And for the most part, those just turned out to be relaunches of books we're mostly familiar with already. They kind of announced the new books earlier before San Diego, like Astonishing X-Men or Astonishing Avengers, pardon me. And
how does the Avengers get the Astonishing title? That didn't make any sense to me, but
yeah, well, I think they're just playing with labels. Astonishing, they were trying to flesh it out into a bigger line, because there was an Astonishing Thor and an Astonishing Spider-Man Wolverine book. So I think they're trying to make it a line that invokes quality. So I'm assuming that's what's happening there. Secret Avengers will be ending, but it looks like Rick Remender's moving on to the Astonishing book.
Right.
We're going to see relaunches of Incredible Hulk and Thor and
again.
Cap.
Didn't they just do that a couple years ago?
Yes. I'm gonna flat out say, I've been saying this for quite some time. Marvel marketing, you guys need to stop doing your drugs, whatever. I mean,
stop sniffing old newsprint.
Yeah, because all these stops and starts have been harming your properties. There's nothing wrong with the properties, but when you do a Captain America book, and then suddenly turn it into Cap and Bucky, and then start it again elsewhere. And that's after multiple stops and starts and
Right.
legacy numberings. It gets to a point where it's too confusing. Yes, it gives entry points to new readers. It also gives you a lot of exit points.
Yeah, way
for
too
old
many
readers.
exit points.
I mean, and the old readers are getting pissed off.
I agree.
And it's not
100%
because they're
I
not
agree.
enjoying the book. They're getting tired of jumping around.
Yep.
They need to, if they're going to do this, they need to stick with it. Stick with their consistency. Do not stop and start again. Do not legacy number it. Don't turn it into another book like they're doing with the Red Hulk. They're turning it into She-Hulk.
A Red She-Hulk or a Green She-Hulk?
Red She-Hulk is taking over the Red Hulk book.
Okay.
And the numbering staying the same. See,
Is this their attempt to maybe bring some of these newer characters that they've introduced in the last couple of years to the forefront and maybe give them a little bit of the limelight to overshadow some stories that they may be working on for other characters, other mainline characters?
Also a possibility. I mean, Jeff Parker said there's a Red Hulk story in the works, so he's going to be elsewhere.
Right.
And he's already been moving the She-Hulk into the title as of now, so it's probably going to seem flow fairly smoothly into it. But I mean, this is obviously a bit to bump numbers. In the case of She-Hulk, coming off a successful book, you know, she'll have probably do better numbers than a new number one.
Okay.
In the case of Thunderbolts, a title I really like, and it's unfortunate that they changed the title, they did get a sales boost by changing the title to Dark Avengers, despite the book not changing.
Oh, that's interesting.
Again, I don't really agree with it, but you know, if it helps the numbers, it helps the numbers. That's fine. I'm cool with that. But I think Marvel marketing honestly is thinking too short term. I've been saying it for years, long before we started this show. I've been saying it for 4 or 5 years, easy. That this was going to start harming them in the long term, and it is. It has.
Oh yeah, definitely it has. There's no doubt about that.
Honestly, I think a full-on reboot's about the only way to fix it at this point, which they didn't have the cojones to do. So, but that said, I mean, I don't think the universe is broken. I think the marketing department is breaking it, and they need to just settle down, let the books be their books,
Right.
and let people enjoy them. I mean, it's you need a roadmap if you're a collector.
Sure, I got you.
To follow a story. I mean, Brubaker's up and down. Brubaker's story was his Captain America launched in number one,
Right.
became a legacy numbering, became a different title, another one launched. I mean, it's all over the place. So Marvel, fix it.
Well, we're gonna talk a little bit about AVX in just a second, but first we need to thank one of our sponsors, and that is going to be Red Skull Comics. Red Skull Comics has a complete collection of back issues, new issues. They've got all kinds of specials going on all the time. They have a great collection of statues, if you're into statues and T-shirts, posters, all that kind of stuff. If you are in Calgary and you want to stop by their store, their brick-and-mortar store is located at 720A Edmonton Trail Northeast in Calgary, and you can find them on the web because they do sell digital prints of their comics, and they can be found at redskull.com. That's REDDSKULL.com. So check out Red Skull today and like them on Facebook. We also need to thank the guys who support us with all of the fabulous goodies that we get to give out now, and that is Gorilla Printing. Gorilla Printing does everything from business cards right up to trade show banners and all that kind of stuff. If you need something for your business, Gorilla Printing is the place to go. Gorilla Printing, located at, they're in Toronto. They mail order all across Canada, so all you got to do is call them up, send them your artwork, and they will make what you need. They have very good prices and a very fast turnaround. You can have your products within 6 days, as I understand. And they can be found at gorillaprinting.ca. And let me just grab something real quick here.
Yeah, we got all these promo cards and things like that. You'll find in some of the stores. And here's an example of some of the things that they've been printing.
If you can see that on your screen now, there's a little QR code on there. Pause the feed. It's GUERILLAPRINTING.ca. So check out Gorilla Printing today, and they will be able to help you with all of your printing needs. Now, let's get back to talking about comics and what happened in San Diego. Now, AVX will have consequences at the end of...
Of course it will.
Well, you can't expect these two factions to duke it out and not have consequences. But that was one of the big announcements at Comic-Con. We kind of knew that was coming.
Yeah,
though.
I mean, Marvel's always, or at least traditionally lately, have followed up their big events with another side mini series or two, and this is no exception. We're going to see the Fallout with consequences,
right?
And there's also going to be the opposite side. It's like, okay, we had the Avengers and X-Men's fighting, so now we're going to get Avengers plus A plus X, where they're forced to.
You think
team up.
they're coming together?
Yeah, where they're forced to team up to take on some threat. And I think that's going to probably be a setup for Bendis's Uncanny Avengers.
Okay.
At least partially.
Doesn't this book kind of remind you of like these reality shows like Big Brother, though?
I don't watch Big Brothers.
Well, I kind of look at this like some of these reality shows where you put all these people in a house and they backstab each other.
Yeah.
And the Avengers versus X-Men and them coming together is going to be no different than, hey,
it's
come on over here.
Well, I after all the fighting they've been doing in Avengers versus X-Men, I can't see them being all pally afterwards. So it's going to be a bit rough waters for those two factions for sure.
Absolutely. I mean, are we going to see Scott remain as a Phoenix entity, or are all those guys going to go back to being stripped of all that cosmic power and Hope get the power that she was sought after for anyway? Who knows? And I kind of think that's the way it's going to go. And then poor Scott, that whiny bitch, is going to be sitting in the corner going, I've lost all my power.
Well,
Why?
I mean, and we've seen the cover for Consequences, and there's a body.
Yeah, there's a body.
An outline. So does Scott even survive this?
God, I hope
conflict?
Not. He's become such a whiner over the years.
He's been dead before, so
yeah. Well, kill him again. And if you do bring him back with some balls. Jesus. I mean, he was. I mean,
when Magneto's starting to look at you, going, dude,
yeah.
you need to relax.
Yeah, exactly.
you're a little bit tightly wound.
He's way too, and he whines just about every third panel. He's whining about something. Oh, Jean's gone. Oh, my daughter, I can't let her go. Oh, my shoes are too tight. Oh, my visor's dirty. Like, come on, Jesus. Like, I don't know.
You don't like Cyclops very much.
You know what? I used to really like his character. Early on, back in the 80s, when John Byrne was doing that kind of stuff, doing the X-Men and stuff, I really liked the character because he was a no-nonsense kind of kick-butt kind of guy. Like, he wouldn't hesitate to get in there and fight right next to Wolverine. Now it's like, oh, your claws are too sharp. You might cut me. Like, geez, grow up, man. Kill him again.
Well, I'm going to move over to DC since. Actually, before we do that, Marvel's been teasing their .1 for Marvel Now.
Oh yeah,
and I'm just going to click into my notes here. And we're finally getting an idea of what some of these series are going to be, or at least the stories within the .1. And I assume these are going to spin out into titles of their own.
Right.
And they pretty much revealed them all now. There's what I assume is going to be like a Warriors 3 type title. We've got Loki Jr. running around with some of the Young Avengers, and a Cable series.
Okay.
Or Cable story. I'm assuming these are going to launch into their own titles. Ant-Man, which makes sense with the film coming up. They're going to want to try to push him to the forefront prior to the film. Otherwise, he's going to be this guy who's like, wait a minute, where did he come from?
I heard they showed that Ant-Man footage at San Diego Comic-Con.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, it's Edgar Wright was talking about it. I think they ran the footage because they describe it in detail. what you're looking at is these two guard type individuals that are walking down this hallway, and as the camera pulls back, you see a little tiny man looking through a grate, and then he kind of comes out of the grate as he's starting to grow. He's beating the crap out of these two guys, and then he walks through the door.
I can see that being a very cool visual. So, I mean, people are kind of doubting Ant-Man, but, I mean, it's Edgar Wright. He gave us a really cool Scott Pilgrim.
Yeah.
And let's face it, the Simon Pegg, Nick Frost movies have been great.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, they're a lot of fun. And new Nova series is also on the
horizon.
And just this week, was Star-Lord was the final teaser image. So I don't know if that's to tease another Guardians of the Galaxy or Star-Lord going into a solo title, which we haven't seen since
I really
the 70s.
think Star-Lord is going to... They're going to try and launch him again. Whether he works in the new universe, who knows?
Could be. I mean, they kind of got him back out of obscurity with Guardians of the Galaxy about 5-6 years ago there.
Right.
On the heels of Annihilation. So, he's back out in the publications. I think they did a nice redesign, and it's a character I'd like to see more of. I mean, they didn't really do anything with him since the 70s, so it's nice to see that character back out there. And I don't know, that one I'm actually more curious about than any of the others right now, because I mean, we've seen Nova several times, and
right.
God knows I'm actually quite sick of Cable.
Cable's another whiny bitch. In any case, let's move on to some DC announcements. Now, I'm a big Batman fan.
Yes.
I'm a huge Batman fan. I mean, hell, I dress up as the guy. Not anymore because I'm too fat, but now I'm kind of like Fat Man. I'm not Batman anymore. But this kind of took me by surprise. Tim Drake was never Robin.
Wow, this one was happened during the Young Justice panel, and despite them just talking about Superboy and Titans, Lobdell lets this line slip that Tim Drake was never Robin. So. I mean, this is a new universe, so I'm not sure how much is retcon and what's not, because the Batman stuff, a lot of that's intact, but that kind of takes a lot away from the character. I mean, what stays and what goes? Here's a character who became Robin because he discovered who Bruce Wayne was.
Yeah, well, he was trying to steal the hubcaps off the...
No, that was Jason.
That was Jason Todd, okay, sorry.
But, I mean, there's a lot to this character that hinges on Batman, so, I mean, are they just going to say he was Red Robin during that whole time, and he was a sidekick to Batman, or wasn't he a sidekick? Boy, there's a lot of spelling to do, Lucy.
Yeah, there's going to be a lot of explaining to do. Well, I don't think that this... I think this is almost going to be like an Elseworld story. That's what it kind of feels like to me at this point. I could be wrong. It might be in the current universe.
Oh, this is part of the New 52.
Yeah, well, I mean, a lot of books are part of the New 52, but they don't necessarily happen in the continuity of the current DC universe. I mean, we have Earth 2, for instance, which has had a crossover.
Well, I mean,
already.
I see your points. We've seen Superboy interact with Superman. Superboy's part of that team, so we know they're part of that same universe.
All right.
Yeah. I mean, whether this universe sticks around will be, who knows?
Right.
But it looks like DC's not going to give up on this anytime soon. And,
Gotcha.
and frankly, I don't see the point. But they got a lot of writing to do now, just based on that line by Scott Lobdell. So, and I almost feel bad because, he's leaving Titans in the hands of another writer. I do believe that's Howard Mackie. So somebody else is going to have to tell that story.
Well, here's another interesting thing that came out of DC announcements. Quentin Tarantino is going to have something to do with DC Comics here very shortly. And it looks like, I guess I should do this. It looks like it was another conversation about before Watchmen. Suddenly, Jim Lee joined the panel. He apologized for breaking in and said he wasn't there for Watchmen. In fact, he was there for something completely different, and introduced writer and director Quentin Tarantino for a very special announcement. Now, Tarantino, in the jittery and excited mannerisms he's all well known for, took to the DS by storm talking about all of the cuts he routinely has to make so that his epic films aren't all 4.5 hours long. Okay. So we know that Quentin Tarantino makes movies that you could sit through with a dinner party.
Yeah, Kill Bill got spliced up, and looks like Django Unchained, and my tongue's not working. Django Unchained.
It's actually just Django.
Django?
Yeah, no,
Django?
the D is silent.
Oh, Django. Like Django Fat.
Yeah, like Django Fat. Yeah.
Without the D.
Without the D, yeah.
Okay, so Django Unchained is going to be chopped up into a multi-part film again because, yes, it got away from him.
Boy, did it ever.
But apparently it got away from him to a point where he couldn't film it all, and we are going to get some prequel comics from DC Comics.
Yes, that'll be cool.
So yeah, I think that's a really neat announcement. DC's making some interesting acquisitions and licensing, and that's a pretty cool one. They also showcase some of the Go with the Dragon Tattoo stuff.
Right.
The first graphic novel is coming out September. First of 4, I do believe.
Right, okay.
Yeah.
Now, we're going to do one last story here before we move to our picks of the week, our review. And
oh, well, I mean, DC also had one more really big announcement.
Okay, let's talk about that.
Was Sandman.
Yeah, Sandman's coming back.
Neil Gaiman's returning to Sandman, and this is going to kind of cover his days prior to the series, how he got captured.
So this is going to be a prequel to basically the whole Sandman mythos.
Yeah.
Oh, well, that's kind of cool.
Yeah. So I mean that's a really cool idea.
So our time is running down very quickly today. I don't know why it's just flying by, but here's an announcement that kind of made me want to hurl.
Oh, what's that?
Loeb on the Avengers Assemble.
Well, this was. It didn't make me hurl. I mean, he was talking about the animated series is ending.
Well, that I know, but there's a new animated series coming out
called Avengers Assemble.
Right.
And they're paring down the team a little bit to more of your favorite thing. When I saw this announcement, it felt like remember the Justice League animated series? It felt like it's that story in reverse. Here you had the big sprawling team, and now it's going small, whereas Justice League had the small team and went massive in when they changed the names.
I disagree with you on that, because when we first saw the Avengers, the new Earth's Mightiest Heroes, hit the small screen, I mean, we had Captain America, who wasn't found until second or third episode. We have Hawkeye.
They certainly took their time getting the team together.
Yeah, it took a long time for them to build the team. It almost took 2 seasons for them to build a solid core team. And I think that the team that they have now is the team that they should have had at the beginning. Now, if they're going to move into a Justice League-esque sort of thing, this is going to expand that universe in a big way.
It just didn't sound like that's the way they were talking about it. It sounds like it's the same show.
Why go backwards,
I'm not sure why they're doing... I have no idea, but Marvel seems to like going backwards.
I think the only thing I did not like about Earth's Mightiest Heroes as a cartoon series was the fact that the stories jumped a lot. Like, there was, in Justice League, as we know, that there was a continuity to the stories. Like, if there was a cliffhanger, it happened the next week. In this one, if there's a cliffhanger, it doesn't happen until like 2 or 3 episodes down the line. Yeah,
well, they're really patterning that show after how Bendis writes his comics.
Which sucks.
You get I don't mind it, but it's an experiment in animation. But I don't know if kids will have the attention span to go, oh yeah, that happened, last year.
Yeah, exactly. And I think for the audience that they're trying to capture, I don't think it's going to work.
Yeah.
To be perfectly honest with you. I think they need more of a continual story if they're going to do that. Build it up over a year or 2 years, condense 2 years down into, 26 episodes. Is that what it is? They normally do 24, 26 episodes a year. And make that a span of 2 years if you have to.
Yeah.
Don't, this week this happened, and next week that's going to happen, and in 3 weeks we're going to go back to that story that we talked about 3 weeks ago and conclude it. Like, that just drives me nuts.
Yeah.
It's like watching a bad soap opera.
Oh, well, you mustn't have liked X-Men then, because Chris Claremont was like that, and he's probably still got plot lines dangling from.
Oh yeah,
15
of course
years ago.
he does. I mean, reading it in a comic's kind of different because you can kind of they harken back in comics to previous issues. I mean, back in the Stan days, back in the 70s and 80s, you always had a reference to where something happened.
Yeah, in a way, that series feels like it's meant for DVD more. Because, when you're watching multiple episodes at a time, that's going to be no problem for somebody if they're watching them in a marathon kind of way. But, man, that's going to be irritating week to week. And then, God knows, it's going to be even more horrible when you get those rerun breaks.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So let's move on. And we've got to thank one more of our sponsors before we move on to doing our review. And that is who?
Words and Pictures.
You bet.
Words and Pictures is located right here in Calgary at 2610 Center Street Northeast. Phone number is 403-282-8870. Largest selection of the back issues in the city. They have all sorts of geek culture type items, toys, statues, role-play games, board games, hats, belt buckles, all sorts of cool stuff. So go check them out. That's Words and Pictures at 2610 Center Street Northeast.
I just wanted to say, did you bring show and tell today?
I did.
Oh, good. Should we lead off with that, or should we save it for the end of the show?
We can lead off with that. Now the cat's out of the bag.
Well, I've got something to show and tell, too. So.
Oh, do you?
Yeah, I do.
Oh, well, you know what? Let's do our reviews and then leave people hanging a bit.
We're going to leave you hanging. So the first one,
I'm ready.
Seeing as we're on the Marvel kick right now, let's talk about our first book, which is Captain Marvel #1, Earth's Mightiest Hero. You son of a... You've got more than I thought you were getting.
I got them all.
I really enjoyed the story. I thought it was one of those stories whereby the writing was solid. Writing is by who in this book?
Kelly Sue DeConnick.
DeConnick and Dexter Soy does the artwork in this book, and cover is by Ed McGuinness, Dexter Vines, and Javier Rodriguez, or Javier Rodriguez. Yeah, I suck at names. The book has some AR in it. I haven't tried the AR. Marvel hasn't been spectacular with their AR as of late. But in the new Captain Marvel, it is Miss Marvel coming to terms with the fact that she is Captain Marvel.
Let me just show these people the cover on the sucker so we don't have graphics in place this week. So there you go.
So yeah, good.
I thought it was all right. I found the artwork was nice, but a little too muddy for such a bright character. The style feels too dark for the brightness of a Miss Marvel type character, and I've not been shy in saying how much I hate this outfit.
Well, certainly the look from the cover to the interiors. I mean, the cover pops when it's on the stand. There's no doubt about that. But the interior work, I think, fits. Because, they've got it as a very kind of moody sort of look to the artwork on the inside. And I got to say, I really enjoyed it. It's almost a watercolor look in some of the panels in the way that it was colored. It almost looks like they did it with watercolors.
Yeah, I mean, it's not that I don't like the art style. I just don't feel it's a fit for the book.
I think it's probably going to change over time. I mean,
yeah, and that slightly anime look, I'm not a fan of either, and that's kind of prevalent in the style as well.
A little bit, yeah. There's a lot of cell shading in it. The story was pretty solid. I like the fact that she kind of comes to terms with the fact that Captain Marvel is no longer Captain Marvel, and he was never really Captain Marvel. He was Marvel of the Kree Empire.
Yeah, that was a military rank that got shortened up, and it makes a point of saying the names don't define a person.
That's right.
Yeah,
Cap really gives her that punch in the arm and says, "Hey,
do it,
shut up and just do it." And then she kind of comes to terms with it after she goes and sees her gay lover. No, it's not her gay love. After she goes and visits a friend of hers who is suffering from cancer.
Yes, she was a mentor.
Yes, a mentor. When she was a pilot.
Yes, so
when she was really Carol Danvers.
It's a nice, more personal story Like, this isn't a punch 'em up superhero story in the first issue, but it's a nice introduction to Carol Danvers as a character.
Yeah, I kind of agree with you. Now, our next book, we normally on this show, we like to talk about number ones. Number one seems to be what we're doing.
Well, we like to do starting points. I wouldn't say number ones, but a good starting point. And I didn't find any for DC this week, so I picked at least a point in a book that as a decent jump on. It was coming off of a story arc, and that is Wonder Woman number 11. And it's a book I've been wanting to talk about. I've read the prior 10 issues, and it is a very different type of Wonder Woman book in this new 52.
Geez, you think?
Very much so. I mean, Azzarello's really writing this with a lot of horror overtones. It's not really a superhero book. It's more of a fantasy horror book. And I dig it. I mean, I'm really digging it. He's playing a little fast and loose with the Greek mythology. Some characters have their proper names. Other ones are more broad stroke archetypes.
Yeah.
And visually, it's a very different looking book from what came before.
I couldn't agree with you more.
They've pretty much thrown all the George Perez designs out the window.
Oh, shit. Well, we've got Cliff Chiang doing the artwork on this book, and it's written by Brian Azzarello, as we know. And Brian, I like the way he writes, man. Lately, I've been just digging his stuff.
Yeah, he's really just knocking things out of the park lately.
And Cliff Chiang's interpretation of his writing with his character development and designs, I mean, this book takes a Sif is not a character that we've ever seen before. I mean, this broad is bald, purple, likes to party in more ways than one. I'm sure she's had her Britney Spears moments. And Hippolyta is quite the distasteful bitch.
And that's actually being pulled a little bit more from mythology. That's where he's staying fairly close to mythology. Because, she's not a fan of the Amazons, and
no.
That was Hera, I think you were talking about.
Oh, yeah,
actually,
Hera. That's right,
Hera. And, Hippolyta had a little dalliance with Zeus at some point, and, she's not a fan of her husband sleeping around.
Well, woman is.
And Wonder Woman has been protecting this woman who is pregnant from one of Zeus's last dalliances, as it were. Obviously Hera's not a fan of that. So, needless to say, she's got some other gods and godlings going after them all the time. And, one thing I noticed about the Wonder Woman book, it's not a solo book. This is a team book.
Oh, very much so.
She's got a lot of interesting, quirky characters following her around, and they're all cool. And I think in a way they've developed in such a way that they all could front their own book. They're so cool.
Well, the character of Lennox,
Lennox is super
cool. I've
never
seen this character before.
No.
Admittedly, I haven't been following Wonder Woman's story for a long time. But just to see this guy, he's kind of cool, sit back with a smoke. I don't give a shit about life. It's whatever happens, just bring me another beer sort of character. And, he jumps into a fight fairly fast though. Yeah. Like, you're messing with my friends, I'm going to go and mess with you. Although he gets his ass kicked.
Yeah, he crumbles a bit.
It crumbles a lot. And then, as the book progresses, we see, the gods come to retrieve the girl who's pregnant with Zeus's child, because there's some sort of prophecy we haven't really been introduced to yet. And I think we're going to see that prophecy unfold very, very soon. And I got to say, right at the very end of the book, I was quite surprised to see, and I'm going to spoil this, so spoiler alert, sorry. She shows up on Mount Olympus. I'm assuming this is Mount Olympus. Mm-hmm. And is like, okay, let's rumble.
Well, I think she's getting a little sick of these people. So,
you gods seem to think that you're all that in a bag of chips too. So I'm going to come here and teach you a lesson.
Yeah, and even Strife there is like, holy shit,
Strife, that's right. I said Sif. Sif's from Marvel.
Yes.
Strife
Sorry,
is
I didn't
the
catch you
character.
saying that actually the first time, but yeah. So, great book. Highly recommend Wonder Woman. And, like, this isn't your mom and pop's Wonder Woman. This is a
But
very
she's still
dark,
badass, man.
Yeah,
she's still
this
badass.
is a very dark book and really a great fantasy horror read. And from somebody who usually does these crime type of characters, man, Wonder Woman, knock it out of the park.
Oh, yeah. I recommend this book highly. If you're not a Wonder Woman fan, start reading it. Go back, get the other 10 issues.
Because you will be.
Oh, yeah, definitely. Especially if you're a horror fan. Yeah. If you like that element of books, I go get it. This one's called Watch the Throne, and get the other 10 episodes or 10 issues that go along with it. Now, finishing off our run this week, I guess I should go back to my shot. Finishing off our run this week is Carbon Gray, Volume 2. And when I was standing in the shop when you gave me the books the other day, I kind of didn't know how to pronounce that. I was going Carbon Gray. No, it's Carbon Gray. I'm getting so old I can't read anymore. My glasses don't work. I did like the artwork in this book. Unfortunately, I did not get a chance to read it, so I'm not really familiar with the characters. I did not read Volume 1.
And I got to say, I didn't read Volume 1, but I did read the book, and Volume 1 feels kind of necessary. There is a lot of expository dialogue in there to kind of catch you up on the history. And it's kind of got that slight anime feel to it. This is kind of an alternate history, almost set World War II. You got a Kaisers and a lot of that old world British kind of
areas
feel.
of Victorian. There's areas,
but it's very much a fantasy book. It in my mind, it kind of invoked things like Red Star in my head. That are fantasy alternate takes on Earth history. Aerosmith was another one that I thought was kind of like that. And it follows these twins that are on different sides of the conflicts. A king has been assassinated in the previous volume, and this is kind of the story of the fallout of that. And despite this slight anime look to it, and in a way, this has a similar look and feel to Captain Marvel art style wise.
Right.
It's beautifully illustrated, but in this case, I find it fits the book really well.
I think you're right about that. I'm interested in actually getting to the meat of the story and reading it. Unfortunately, I didn't this week, but I kind of thought the artwork in it was well done. I like the artwork in this much more than I like the artwork in Captain Marvel, and I like that artwork. This, to me, seemed a lot more fleshed out in terms of the angularity of the characters, the smoothness of the lines. I found Captain Marvel to be a little bit more, stiff drawn, maybe, is probably the better way to say it. Yeah. This one flows a little bit better. It's a little more painted style. The panel flow, it's not your typical white page with panels on it. All the pages are black. And it's, I don't know, I kind of like the way it flowed in terms of just telling a visual story. I can't wait now to read the book. Sorry about that, folks.
He's docking it up and he hasn't read it yet.
No, but from what I can see in the book,
it's an interesting read, but it's not the best start point for number one, I found. Like I said, there's a lot of descriptive caption boxes in there to kind of catch you up on the history of the world, and that really kind of slows down the book for you. It did for me anyway. Right. It was just, I kind of wanted to get on with it and
move along, kind of deal.
It was like, I think I'd rather just go buy the trades for this and and catch up that way.
Okay,
but it honestly feels like it should have been a number 5 or a number 6 or wherever Carbon Gray left off.
All right.
It's as a number 1, it's not the best jump on point. I did find it a confusing read.
Okay. Well, it's there's our 3 books for this week. So Carbon Gray is leave it on the shelf for you.
For me, I probably would have. Yeah, flipping through. It's been a book I've been kind of interested in. So I like a lot of the concepts.
Mm-hmm.
I'd probably go grab the trade paperback for this one first before picking up this one.
Okay. Wonder Woman.
Always on my list.
Definite buy.
Yeah.
And Captain Marvel. I'm going to say buy this book.
Captain Marvel. That one's a pass for me.
I'm going to say buy the book because I think the follow-up story is going to be rather interesting.
Yeah, I'll give it a few more. I mean, I like Kelly Sue's writing, so we'll have to wait and see. It's too early for me to judge, but based on that number one, not overly interested in picking up another one.
Okay. Well, you've got some show and tell before we get to what's new on the shelf or what's coming on the shelf. And I'm going to just give you a chance. And you bought all three of these, and I hate you now because I didn't get one. But I did get something, and I'm going to run upstairs and grab that. I haven't brought it down to the studio yet.
Give me a second to get all this.
Yeah, I'll let you get all the crinkly stuff off and, mess up the audio and all that other nice stuff.
Yeah.
Jerk. All right, so I'm going to put the camera back on you. You don't have to eat the microphone. You can sit back a little bit.
Okay. What I have here, I'm just going to hold up all three, actually. Kotobukiya has brought out, yet again, some really interesting stuff. I don't know if my camera's catching these really well. These are Alien Chopsticks. And we'll start with this one here. This is the Chest Burster Chopstick. And I got to tell you, I mean, you take these to your local sushi house, you're going to get some looks. There's a face hugger set of chopsticks. And we also have the big chap, the alien himself with his crossed arms. Is a very Giger kind of look to it. Man, I gotta tell you, Kotobukiya comes up with some really crazy cool stuff. I can't wait to take this to my local sushi house and get that on a roll somewhere, because that's gonna freak out some people for sure. These retail for about $10.
That's it?
That's it. $10. I mean, which sounds expensive for chopsticks, but they are immaculately sculpted. I'm gonna actually open one of these up because I don't think.
We haven't seen the feel of those yet.
Yeah. So give me a sec.
Oh yeah, love that sound. Crunch, crunch, crunch,
crunch. Holy! They packed the heck out of these.
Holy cow! Did they ever?
Oh,
here. There's a knife here somewhere. There.
Thank
there
you.
Go. Hey, you're welcome.
Shaped.
Well, there's way more package than there is chopstick in that one.
Well, they've packed them twice. So.
Oh, okay.
So the other side's just as equally packed.
Wow.
Oh, there we go.
Oh, there it goes.
And once they come out of the package, they want to run away. Okay, so I'm gonna get you to hold this up close to your camera because my camera's so here. Far away.
Okay,
and that's the big chap. And as you can see, they're really high detail for such a small item, and the texture runs all the way down.
It does. Check that
out. Chopstick. So very cool. I really can't wait to use these because I will. I am going to use these.
I want to try it because they feel awfully heavy at the top.
Well, this is certainly the biggest one of the bunch.
Yeah, I love these things, man. These are awesome. I told my wife I wanted a set of these. She just kind of went, "Yeah, okay."
Not surprising.
Okay, so in normal chopsticks, okay, we're gonna be up a little high. Okay, so, well, no, look. You get them caught in the other one, and you're screwed.
Uh-oh.
I don't know if you can, you see? You get them caught, you get the little shoulders caught.
So I'm thinking the chest burster is probably going to be your best chopsticks, actually.
Yeah, they're nice and smooth.
Yeah.
Because the other ones are the face hugger.
I can even see the face huggers getting a bit clustered together. I'm going to give these a...
Give them a go. See what you think.
All right. Oh yeah, these actually could be pretty awkward. I don't think the big chaps are going to be the most useful chopstick.
No, You almost have to make them kiss when you're holding them.
Yeah.
That way they've got equal pressure on both sides.
You know what you might want to do is use one of one and
one of the other.
But
that would freak people out.
Two of the big chaps are going to be awkward.
Yeah,
for
very
sure.
awkward.
Because there's just too much on the top, and they want to get tangled up in each other. Yeah, if you got them facing each other, you should be okay.
Yeah, but the angle of the stick is a little different because if you look at the bottom, it hooks a little.
Yeah, and maybe they've designed it in such a way to do something a little wider with it. So I don't know. These ones are going to take a little work, honestly.
I think so.
They're the ones I want to use though, but because they're the coolest ones of the bunch. But yeah, the big ones, a little awkward.
Okay.
But I'm thinking just by the look and feel of these that the chest burster are going to be the most functional. There's not much. There's nothing there to get really tangled up in each other. So it's mainly because there's so much going on.
There's so much detail on those.
Yeah. So your chest burster or even the face huggers probably won't be too bad because they don't stick out a whole heck of a lot.
Yeah, you're gonna have to turn the legs.
Yeah.
So that they're
opposite each other. So if you just want them for cool factor, these ones are probably my favorite. But for functionality, use the chest burster.
Yeah, use the chest burster. So this week, as you know, I was in the store and I neglected doing this when it came in on Tuesday, but I thought it was so damn cool that I came home and I said, honey, there's a new piece I need to add to the studio. I know I can't save money, but maybe this will help because it's the dark side.
Yeah, these are the really well sculpted bust banks that have been coming out, and they've been Marvel ones, and there's a whole line of Star Wars ones as well. This is actually the second Vader to come out. The first ones are actually articulated.
Oh, really?
Yeah, you can move the arms and the head a little bit.
Man, I dig this one. I can hardly get a toonie out of the bottom of that.
Yeah, the hole in the bottom's pretty small, but I mean, it's a very cool bank. I'd use your smaller coin in this one.
What coin? What are you talking about, man? I have a jar for that here somewhere. There it is. See? We have a jar for that. Because that goes for coffee. Tim Hortons is only a half a block away, so...
Well, except you should be not buying coffee and putting that in our donate jar.
Should Vader become our new donate jar?
There you go.
All right. So I will start putting money in Vader today. As a matter of fact, I will do that right now. So we have Witness. Look, there's a Looney and a Toonie. Look right side by side. So for those of you that don't know what our Canadian money looks like, yeah, we like to play with small stuff. So there's a Toonie. That's like a $2 bill in the U.S. Do they have $2 bills in the U.S.?
I think they still have their $2 bills.
And this is our Looney. This used to be a $1 bill, and then they made it into a coin. So,
and why they call them the Looney is because there is a loon duck on the back of it. So,
and see, there goes the Looney, and there goes the Toonie.
All right, the Force is with us.
Force is with us. He's got $3 in him now, and I'll empty out the rest of the jar and put him in there too.
There you go.
But that being said, that is almost our time for another week. Quickly, what's on the shelf?
What's on the shelf? Give me a sec to get my
aliens
coming out of the way.
What's coming this week? Boy, you got a lot of crap to move.
Yeah, well, I got all these chopsticks and stuff in front of me. Give me a break. Okay, well, I'm just glazing through my invoice for next week, as I usually do. New Amazing Spider-Man next week. They've been telling a lizard story because it's, he's in a movie.
Right, yeah.
So, obviously, he's going to be in the comics as well. And I got to tell you, Dan Slott's doing a great job on that book.
Okay.
Jeff Johns' Aquaman 11 is coming out. Another really beautiful-looking book. Let's see here. Let's kind of hit the highlights. Grant Morrison's Batman Incorporated number 3 is coming out.
All right.
Shaping up with that. Of course, before The Watchmen next week. Comedian number 2.
Comedian number 2. Now, that being said, I'm going to stop you real quick.
Sure.
As people know, I'm going to just switch back to my camera. As people know, we have been reviewing the Before Watchmen. Now, we have Watchmen, the Minutemen, and Silk Spectre number 2s now in the studio, and they will be going with the rest of our Before Watchmen package We will continue to review the number ones that come out, of course. And last one that was out was Ozymandias. Next to come out is... Which is the next one out? Rorschach? Rorschach is the next one out. And we will be looking very forward to that.
And we still also have Dr. Manhattan.
We still have Dr. Manhattan. So when these books are all concluded, we're going to hold a contest for them, and somebody can win the entire series.
That's right. All of them. All complete run of Minutemen.
Yep.
Silk Spectre.
And we're going to bag and board these, aren't we?
Yeah, we're gonna make sure they're all pretty fad for you, and we'll give you the full run of Before the Watchmen. How cool is that?
Yeah.
So like us on Facebook, watch for that contest announcement further down the line, and you can get yourself a really cool pack of comics.
Yeah,
and all first prints goes.
Yes,
guys.
they're all first prints, so they might be worth some money in a few years. So what else we got coming?
Okay, well, Grim Fairy Tales has hit issue 75. Hit Girl number 2, which we reviewed number 1 just a few short weeks ago, and quite liked.
Yes.
So go check that out. Let's see what else we got. The Aquaman figure and the Green Lantern figure from the Justice League line of toys is also going to be coming out next week. Let's see. New assortment of Living Dead dolls for you toy collectors as well.
Good.
So cool. I like the Modern Master series. They're these profiles on artists.
Okay.
From Tomorrow's Publishing, and the Eric Powell book will be out next week. For those of you who don't know Eric Powell, he does a wonderful job on a Dark Horse book called The Goon.
Right. He does The Goon. Correct.
That's right. Let's see. Boy, this is kind of slim pickings for next week. Some Soulfire stuff. The Grace and Power one-shots.
Okay.
Will be out next week. You might be interested in this one. Star Wars Darth Maul Death Sentence.
Ooh, yes, I might be interested in that.
Yeah, so I don't know, I might pull that one so we can review that one. Because
you're not a Star Wars fan, though.
I like Star Wars. I just don't read it very often. There's so much of it. It's like, where do you start?
I want to go back and get the back issues now that the Darth Vader and the Ghost of Coruscant has been progressing. I want to see how that's gone. Yeah, we're 3
issues into that, and we reviewed number 1 of that one a little while ago as well, and that was a really great number 1,
So quickly, let's talk about our contests coming up.
Yeah, I'm just going to quickly go see if there's anything else in it that's worth mentioning. Big one release from Marvel is Extreme X-Men number 1 next week. Okay. So there's a good chance we'll be reviewing Extreme X-Men on our next show.
Okay. Now we've got a contest coming up right quickly, and that's as soon as we hit 100 likes on Facebook. So if you are a fan of the show and you're not a fan of me, but that's okay. I can live with that. Go over and like us on Facebook. Give us your vote. And once we hit 100 likes, we are going to start a brand new contest. And we've been saying this for weeks now, for all of the free Comic Book Day books that came out, along with the much sought-after hardcover of Mouse Guard. There's over 25 books in this package. All comes in a nice canvas bag that holds a lot of stuff. So if you're going to a convention, take this bag along with you, stick all your stuff in there, and it'll be a great little contest. Right after that, we actually have some stuff we're giving away right now, aren't we? We're giving away the Infinites poster signed by our guest who was here last week, David Thomas. He signed the first 4 issues, I believe. And we are going to give all that away. If all you got to do is just say, send me the Infinites. Send me the Infinites. If you write that on Facebook or tweet it to us, we'd prefer that you send it to us on Facebook, though. Just write your name down there and say, hey, listen, send me the Infinites. We'll send you some posters. We'll send you all the first 4 issues, all signed by the creator and writer of the book. Check it out. Let us know what you think.
Only one person can win.
And only one person can win. Yeah. So we'll do that drawing if we get enough in. We may actually do the drawing next week. And then after that, we are when we reach the 250, we'll give away the free Comic Book Day books and go from there. We got a brand new website coming 1st of August. So please come back, check out that whole new look to the website, a whole new way to get around the website, much easier.
Streamlined, simpler. You guys are going to love it. And with that, RSS feeds, RSS feeds.
RSS feeds, yes.
Our RSS feeds. And iTunes, which has been long in the works and long requested.
And long overdue.
Long overdue. So we will have iTunes up and running, and you will be able to do either the traditional show as a video feed,
right,
or you can get an audio-only feed while you're walking the dog.
There you go. So just before we say goodbye, we're going to give you a little teaser of what we have in store for you in September.
Let's all go to the lobby. Let's all go to the lobby. Let's all go to the lobby.
So coming in September, we've got a brand new show we're going to launch called Popcorn Lobby. It is not your typical review show. As a matter of fact, it's not a review show at all. It is a conversation about current movies, DVDs, Blu-rays. We've got a couple other things we're going to talk about as well. And
the mystery of File 13.
Yes, the mystery of File 13. So that show will be coming in September. I think at this point we're talking about it just being a tape show.
Yeah, we won't be going live with that one, so we can really polish it up for you guys as on the YouTubes and, of course, our own website, prod.com. And hopefully you guys are liking it. We're going to make sure all our ducks in a row on that one first before we launch it. So we're targeting September. And if there's any delays, we'll let you know.
We'll definitely let you know.
That's coming up soon.
And if anybody from Netflix is listening, we did send some information to you recently, so get back to us. We'd like to do a Netflix pick of the week, and because Netflix is becoming very popular.
Yeah, and not to be plugging Netflix because they're not paying me to do so.
No,
pay me. Girlfriend and I watched an interesting movie on Netflix recently. It was called The Skin I Live In.
Okay.
And it was with Antonio Banderas. My tongue doesn't want to work on these tougher names. And it was a Spanish flick. It was just bizarre. He thinks his daughter gets raped. He thinks. He's under the impression his daughter get raped. So he kidnaps the guy who did it because his daughter commits suicide.
Oh.
And keeps him captive. He's a plastic surgeon and turns him into a woman.
Interesting.
Yeah, and then it gets even weirder. So check that one out if you're into some interesting, strange foreign flicks. I would put it on the horror side of things, but it's not in that bloody kind of way. It's more of a subtle horror movie with some horrific outcomes, but
it's not anything like the Human Centipede, is it?
No. I mean, I've had somebody else compare it to that, and I'm like, no, the Human Centipede is just out there to shock the shit out of you. Yeah, this one's not like that.
Okay. All right, with that being said, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for joining us again. As we do every Saturday, we're going to have a little bit of an after show here. So if you're still in the chat room and you want to hang out and you want to say something now, you can. If you want to reach us on Skype, you can just look us up at nap-01. Just let us know where you're coming from, that you saw the show, and we'll be happy to talk to you on Skype. Skype is always open whenever we do a show, so anybody can call in at any time, and we'll get you on the air and talk a little bit about comics. I want to thank our friends this week from GFQ, Andrew Zarian, and the whole crew down there. They do a great job. If you're out and surfing the web, do check out the GFQ network at gfq.com. and or gfqlive.com, I believe it is, and go out and check out the shows that they have there. They've got some great entertaining shows, and Monday nights they do a Big Brother roundup. So if you're a Big Brother fan, go check that out. And I'm a Big Brother fan. I like watching the show. It's my guilty pleasure, and go check that out. I also want to thank Mike Phillips, audio man extraordinaire, for all of the audio help that he's given us this week and in weeks prior. As you notice, we're using new microphones this week. Change things up just a little bit. That's part of our technical difficulty, although the mic is not the technical difficulty. Some of the other things are. But we will be back next week, next Saturday at 12 o'clock noon, and we will see you between
the pages.
There you go. All right. Have a great day, everybody, and we will see you in the after show in about 30 seconds.